Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2021 Toyota Highlander, and we're going to be taking a look at, and I'm going to show you how to install the Torklift EcoHitch 2-inch hitch receiver. This is going to be a Class 3 2-inch hitch receiver. That means that the hitch receiver tube is going to be a 2-inch by 2-inch opening, which is going to be great because most accessories that are available on the market are going to be designed to fit 2-inch hitch receivers. Now up close you can see Torklift's really tough hammer tone paint job. This paint job has been known to last a very long time, so if you're in rougher areas or in the wintertime if there's a lot of salt and stuff on the roads, this is going to help to resist that rust and corrosion. This hitch is going to feature a standard 5/8 inch hitch pin hole. The hitch pin and clip do not come with the hitch, but chances are if you pick up an accessory off our website, it's going to come with a hitch pin and clip, whether it's a locking, non, anti-rattle. If it doesn't, and you just need to pick up a hitch pin for an accessory you already have, you can check on our website for a standard pin like this, or maybe a locking one. For our safety chain loops, they're up here. I kind of like how they're hidden behind. The only thing is they're going to be a little tough to connect to when you're standing up. I'm kneeling down right now. But you have no problem being able to fit different style safety chains on there. There's a clevis style. Here's an S-hook style. Again, I like how they're further back so you don't have to look at them all the time when you're not using your hitch to pull a trailer. But you may want to look into maybe a little bit longer safety chains so that you can hook onto them. Now some measurements so you know what you're getting. From the center of our hitch pin hole to the outermost part of our bumper is about 3 inches. Where that measurement's going to help you is when you're trying to decide what type of accessory to get. There's going to be a lot of accessories out there that fold up to the back of your vehicle. If you watch some of our videos, the towns on the video will give you a measurement from the center of the hitch pin hole on the accessory to the closest part of the accessory. Use that 3-inch measurement I just gave you to compare it to those amounts, and it'll tell you whether or not that accessory will fit on the back of your Highlander. From the ground to the top inside of the receiver tube is about 16¼ inches. That's pretty high off the ground. Usually our cutoff mark for looking for raised shank accessories is 12 inches, so being 4¼ higher than that is definitely going to give you a lot of options. Most of the cargo carriers we have on our website are going to have an automatic 2-inch rise in the shank, so I'd highly recommend one of those, or a bike rack. You're going to be able to use a lot of different bike racks with this being that high off the ground. Now when it comes to weight capacities for this hitch, the max tongue weight capacity is going to be 750 pounds. That is the downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tube. You will want to check with the owner's manual to see what the tongue weight capacity of the vehicle is, compare that to the hitch, and go with the lowest number between the two. That goes for the trailer weight capacity too. This max trailer weight capacity is rated for 5,000 pounds of towing. That is the trailer plus the load included. So typically you can look on the sticker on the side of the trailer, see what it weighs, kind of do a rough estimate of what you're putting on it weighs, and then compare that to the 5,000. Again, look at what your vehicle is rated for, compare that to the hitch amounts, and go with the lowest number between the vehicle and the hitch. Now there's only going to be a few differences between the way that this hitch looks when it's installed and the other hitches available for the Highlander. The first and foremost is going to be the paint job itself, which we've already talked about is very durable. I really like the paint job on this hitch. The other thing is that this hitch is going to be made out of recycled materials, hence the EcoHitch. It's going to be made out of aluminum, steel, and stainless steel all combined to make this hitch. It helps to make the hitch a little bit lighter than the other ones. Not really anything noticeable, but if you're going for that eco-friendly design, that's what this one has. The other thing is that the way this one's going to install will be a little different than some of the other ones available for the Highlander. This one's going to lift up into place. You put 2 bolts into the bottom of the frame rail on the Highlander, and then you're going to have 2 side plates, which in my personal opinion, I like that extra rigidity rather than just having the whole hitch bolt up flat to the bottom of the frame rail. This one's going to bolt to the sides of the frame rail too. But with that being said, let's go ahead and show you how we did it. To begin our installation, we'll have to remove this panel here in order to get access to where we need to lift our hitch up into. We've got some plastic push pin fasteners, and you can kind of just feel around and see which ones are holding this panel in. we'll just take a flathead screwdriver. You want to pop the center out. Now, depending on how old your vehicle is, ours is 3 years old, so just kind of be patient. You don't want to break these because chances are you don't have any spares at home. So you pop the center out, and then you can pull the base out. Now you're going to have two plastic nuts up here. You'll want to use a 12mm socket and gently loosen those. Sometimes you have to pull down on this panel while you're doing this in order for them to actually thread off. And we can just take our panel. We see here that this actually has a little clip that's holding it on. We'll just pull this out of our way. Now on the passenger side, you can again use either a Phillips head screwdriver or a 10mm socket on these. We'll have a few more screws that we'll have to remove, similar to the other side. Except this one up here, you will have to use a 10mm. And again, the push pin fasteners, we'll get those removed. Now on either side of our vehicle, we're going to have this bumper stiffening bracket. Just pop that push pin fastener out of there. You can leave it in place if you want to. Flip that out. That's going to give us a little bit more room to lift our hitch up in place. Now we need to take some of these fasteners out of the bottom of our frame rail. We're just going to remove the ones that have this little flathead tab in the center. There's going to be two on the bottom and two on the sides. Now, in addition to those four plugs there, we're going to take this rubber plug out of each side too. Now we're going to put a strap under our exhaust. This is because we're going to loosen up our exhaust, so it gives us a little bit more room to lift our hitch up into place. Now we're shooting for right here. We're going to kind of work both sides, see which one will come off a little bit easier. But we've got two at the top and one here on the bottom. We're just going to use a pry tool in order to get those loosened up. Now we're going to loosen our strap a little bit, and that'll give us just enough room to lift our hitch up into place. Now with an extra set of hands, we've got Joe here to help us out. We're going to lift our hitch up into place. You want to get it over our muffler, over top of this muffler pad, or this little guard here. Line it up with your holes in the bottom of your frame rail, and then thread your hardware in. You want to use the silver bolts that come in your kit. Use a flat washer, then a lock washer, and thread it up into the bottom of our frame rail. Next, we can take our vertical brackets on the side of our frame rail. I like to start with the top holes because they are going to be slotted so you can move the bracket up and down. We use that same combination of hardware that we use in the bottom of the hitch to go into these weld nuts on the side. And your brackets are going to kind of have a taper to them. They're only going to fit one way, so just line it up with the appropriate side and we'll get these started up. Now we're going to take one of our larger bolts that comes in a kit, put a flat washer on it, slide it through that hole in the hitch, and we're going to follow it up with a flat washer, a lock washer, and finally a nut. Now we're going to repeat that same process on the other side of our vehicle. Now in your instructions, it's going to tell you to put the hardware in place in the order that I just told you. What I'm going to do is, now that we know that that plate fits correctly, we're going to take one of these bolts out at a time in order to tighten down and torque the upper hardware, because otherwise you can see our hardware is covering that bolt, so you can't get a torque wrench on it. So just take one off at a time. It should keep your bracket on the outside straight, and we can get this torque down properly. Now you want to get those torque specifications in your instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can check out our website. We have some on there, or you can check with a local auto parts store, and they typically will have them that you can rent. Now with the 4 bolts on the bottom torqued down, we can come back and tighten and torque the 4 bolts that are remaining on each side. Now the last thing we need to do is trim our driver's side panel. You can either leave it off or you can trim it if you want to. A lot of people won't want to trim this, but it does kind of protect the inside here. It'll help keep that hardware clean for sure. Just follow the instructions. The chart in there gives you a really good representation of what all you need to trim out. Essentially, you just need to trim out a big chunk next to this big open circle, and then on the complete opposite side, you'll need to cut a about a 4x3 chunk out of the back. So we'll get this back up in place, get our exhaust hung back up, and that'll do it. Well guys, once you get everything buttoned back up, that's going to do it for installation. Hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the EcoHitch is right for your 2021 Toyota Highlander.